Welcome back to the Uganda Awakening. Welcome back. Today we are talking about lessons from Western Uganda. I think it is literally lessons so far on the campaign trail of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the people's president. Yeah, we are talking about lessons from the campaigns so far. Let me not mumble on. I have that tendency. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Guys, yeah, it is very, very important. If this is your first time on this channel, remember this is the Uganda Awakening, and this community understands what it means waking up. And if you want to be one of them, please subscribe. The reason for this channel is to highlight the Ugandans facing up the dictatorship of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Individuals that have acknowledged that this country has lived under a deception for over 40 years. That is a lot. It means that generation upon generation have been robbed of their stake when it comes to fulfilling their God-given potential. Yeah. To build a nation that is so resourceful, yet we are operating under our potential because, of course, our ancestor is still the president of Uganda. We need to reclaim this country from the shackles of the NRM, which has prioritized its colors above the national colors of our country. It is very simple as that. So, lesson number one from these presidential campaigns. Lesson number one. The strategy of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is very, very clear. It is very, very clear. Very clear. While the NRM is out there shipping children from school, kids that are supposed to be concentrating on their exams, while they are doing so, and of course, transporting others by compensating them with money and t-shirts. Yellow is the dominant color at their campaigns. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is literally giving Ugandans a chance to take back their country. And he's doing so symbolically by distributing national flags. Yeah, he's distributing flags, the Uganda flag wherever it goes. This is so symbolic. Many people might just look at it as one of those stunts, but it is really an act of acknowledging that this country's national identity has been taken away. Yeah, it has been taken away. What does a country need to operate as a democracy with a functional government? How is it supposed to operate? Institutions of that country have to be independently working for the benefit of the country as enshrined in the Constitution. The executive, the legislature, the judiciary, in tandem but independently, to make sure that there are checks and balances. If the executive makes an outrageous decision, it can be checked through these other. It's like a sieve. It's supposed to be filtered through these two other arms of government. And that means that the people on ground are prioritized. Yeah. Not as it is right now. All these institutions in the armpits of the dictatorship of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Money is siphoned at will and it is distributed through these campaigns, which means that symbolically, the people's president is handing back the nation to you. So it is up to you, Ugandans, to find courage in taking back your country through the protest vote and protecting that vote. That is lesson number one. In the next lesson, I'm going to first share a video from this errant officer who feels that he has every audacity to act in accordance to his own imagined way of procedure when arresting people. Yeah, I'm going to play that video, short clip, and then react to it.
If someone has committed a crime, if people had committed crimes, they should not hide their crimes in politics. They shouldn't hide their crimes in politics. If you have a crime and you're being looked for, you should be arrested. If we find you at a campaign rally We shall not say that because you are at a rally of someone, because this person is an opposition person, then we cannot go ahead to arrest you. So the crimes that they committed, they should pay for those crimes.
You have heard that. If you have committed a crime, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're attending campaigns, we are going to come out and pick you up. It sounds good, right? Yeah, it sounds really, really good. But what about the crimes that are committed by those wearing the t-shirts yellow t-shirts with wielding sticks, mercilessly attacking individuals of the opposition simply because they're showing their support to a candidate that they don't like? This is the same officer, by the way, when asked about these individuals who decided to come out with sticks and attack supporters of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, his excuse was literally that these people are cattle keepers. Yeah, and cattle keepers have a tendency of walking around with sticks. Can you imagine? They think you're fools. And if you don't really look into this excuse for what it really is, it means you've not yet woken up, or you're willfully ignorant to suit an agenda whose entire purpose is to keep most Ugandans sleeping. Yeah, preserving this dictatorship because it has thrived through people sleeping and being distant from politics. The purpose of all these intimidation tactics is to make sure that for as long as we get a portion of the population disinterested in politics, it means that we have a smaller number to deal with, making it easier for us to rig an election in that case. That's really what it means. The purpose of people sleeping and remaining distant from the affairs of their country is the first stage of rigging an election, because you keep people disinterested. Therefore, you have a smaller group that will go to vote, making it easier for you to rig that election. Yes, it's pretty much what it is. That is why we have these individuals out here with impunity, suggesting that we have a right to arrest opposition members. But when it comes to those that are committing crimes against the opposition, they are not going to arrest these individuals. So what are people saying below the post? Because I came across this clip on X. So this is Waligo. He states that what must be noted here is the first invitation of the police is to make a statement, give their side of the story, and not to convict. Arrest and detention should depend on your cooperation to respond to the invitation. An apologist shoots back and states that the current problem in the country is that of the population, which forbids analytical scrutiny of facts in exchange for vibe, hype, and bandwagon. The law you preach is the same law broken by your entourage, yet the same law should not be used to bring them to order. Someone shoots back and says, have you arrested the SFC guy who kicked and broke a leg of an old woman in Kotido during Museveni's rally? Yeah, have you arrested that individual? Then Waligo David also responds, first, according to the Police Act, for any arrest, it should arise out of a complaint, and there must be a complainant, and first information is recorded in the occurrence book, and reference SD number is issued to the complainant to look for the suspect the complainant can make. Of course, the other individual who was giving all these excuses did not come back. People shared the images of people wielding sticks to state their facts. Yeah. And then the badge of the police with the emblem of the NRM is also making rounds in response to what this person says. So there you go, the double standards. Yeah, that is another lesson that we have learned. Another lesson we have learned is the undressing of women. Police have undressed women. Yet again, it's like a ritual. Every time there is an election, they mercilessly go about picking out women and undressing them. And then, of course, the excuse they were resisting arrest, but they're literally undressing these women. So Miriam Matembe is furious about this case.
In the name of Jesus, to curse all those people who strip women naked. They strip them naked and shame them. I saw that woman being stripped naked. I imagined it was me. I want to curse them in the name of Jesus. Yes, those who strip women naked and embarrass us in that country.
There it is. So I want to conclude this video on a positive note, especially as a call to action. You have witnessed everything that has happened in the campaign so far, and feel free to share your lessons in the comment section. I don't want this video to be too long. Of course, we have so many lessons that are coming out of the current campaign. Let me hear your lessons that you have learned. What is something that has literally given you an insight of what to expect in the upcoming elections? I already talked about the military in the previous video. So let me talk about how blocking Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu on his campaign trail and diverting him towards some of the worst roads in the country, and how this has become an advantage for his campaign. Yeah, the consistent antagonism towards Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is actually working in his favor, and I'll tell you why. Because you see, each time they block him, they take him to the outskirts of different communities from the very beginning of his campaign, but mostly predominantly in the West. People have always had this assumption that Western Uganda, because that is where most of the current people that are controlling this country, that are governing this country, Museveni, all coming from the West, Western Uganda, those people must be well off. And of course, the rhetoric of if you don't vote the NRM, we are not going to give you services. Well, Western Uganda is notorious in doing so. In most of the numbers, most of the rigging happens there to convince us that this particular area is predominantly NRM. In fact, if you go there, I think they have more unopposed members of parliament. You will correct me if I'm wrong. But they always have some of the biggest stalwarts, political stalwarts from the NRM coming from Western Uganda. So your imagination or your expectation is that this place is way developed, more developed than any part of the country. But what happened is that each time they blocked Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, they continue to expose how underdeveloped the western part of Uganda is. And this is because the camera is one of the most powerful weapons. Like Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu states, the camera is such a potent weapon against dictatorships. And it has revealed how underdeveloped this country is. So where are these people taking the money? When they tell you that they are protecting the gains, what gains? What gains? This is why I'm saying that the NRM slogan should be protecting the loot. Because you can analyze if indeed it is true that places that popularly vote the NRM are getting services, and those that predominantly vote the opposition will not get services because these people don't work seamlessly well with Museveni. Who is fooling who in this situation? Yeah. A reminder, blowing your neighbor's candle to make yours brighter does not actually work. They keep persisting in blowing the candle of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to make theirs brighter, only to reveal the deception that we have had to deal with for 40 years. No one is benefiting from the gains that they are talking about. There have never been any gains. In fact, if there are any, it is only for the select few. So don't be duped into thinking that these elections are going to be any different when it comes to Museveni fulfilling the promises that he has failed to fulfill in the last 40 years. On the side note, there is also another promise that was made by the NRM. I want to end it on that. I think I'll continue. If you want me to talk about the promise to the people of Teso and their cows that have constantly been a main feature in every NRM manifesto, let me know in the comment section. I am going to end it there. What do you think about the election so far? Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Cheers, guys. I love you.